The drug game is far bigger and far faster than most people imagine. And for more than a decade, Mexican cartels have stopped acting like traditional criminal groups, instead transforming into managers of a continent-wide operation, quietly coordinating gangs, routes and finances toward a single objective: the continuous and invisible sale of narcotics. The story no longer begins in Mexico, but deep in South America, in the vast coca fields of Colombia, and the dense jungles of Peru and Bolivia, where a crop more valuable than gold is cultivated and refined, before being moved along secret roads toward Ecuador and Venezuela, two critical gateways for the global drug trade. From there, shipments are sent by aircraft and sea through Honduras, Nicaragua, Guatemala, El Salvador, and Mexico, where they are divided, rerouted, and quietly pushed along land and maritime corridors toward the western, central, and eastern United States. Still the world's largest consumer market, all coordinated with a level of precision that has turned trafficking into an industrial-scale system. By 2018, this machine was already generating close to $33 billion annually for Mexican cartels. And since then the figure has only increased, forcing criminal organizations to confront a challenge even more complex than moving drugs, moving money. Today, U.S. authorities find themselves overwhelmed, repeatedly asking how cartels manage to launder nearly $70 million every single day without leaving a trace. For agencies like the Drug Enforcement Administration, tracking money should be straightforward, backed by global reach, advanced technology, and vast human resources, yet none of this has proven sufficient against modern cartels that no longer collapse when a single leader is removed. In the past, arresting a drug lord often meant cutting off the head of a fragile structure. But Mexico is now home to more than 150 organized criminal groups, built to operate independently of any individual figure. When El Chapo was captured for the third time in 2016 and extradited to the United States a year later, authorities believed this marked the end of the Sinaloa cartel, yet years later the opposite is true. The cartel's profits have grown because its internal machinery never stopped functioning, from street-level distribution to international laundering networks, leaving authorities facing an enemy that adapts faster than enforcement strategies can evolve. This challenge is magnified by the scale of participation in organized crime itself, which has become one of Mexico's largest employers, drawing more than 175,000 people into its networks. With such volume, tracing financial paths becomes almost impossible, as criminal groups expand, diversify, and erase their tracks as if they never existed. This pressure has forced anti-drug agencies to confront a deeper reality: cartel income no longer depends solely on narcotics. Across Mexico, criminal organizations now operate in roughly 75% of the country's territory, granting them access to legitimate industries that provide clean money, steady cash flow, and minimal scrutiny. In western Mexico, avocado production has become a striking example, as the country controls around 60% of global output of what is often called green gold. Criminal groups have seized farms, displaced landowners, and illegally logged protected forests to expand production, not just for profit, but because selling avocados generates revenue that enters the financial system as legitimate agricultural income. A similar strategy appears further north in mineral-rich states, where gold, silver, copper, iron, and zinc are extracted through illegal mining, extortion, and forced protection schemes. These resources are exported through ports to international markets, including China, producing massive profits that disappear into global trade flows long before authorities can intervene. Along the U.S.-Mexico border, arms trafficking adds another layer, with hundreds of thousands of weapons moving through hidden corridors each year. Yet even these revenues are small compared to the cartel's second-largest business, human trafficking. Migrants from Central America and beyond now face a cartel-controlled border system, where fees are unavoidable, transforming desperation into a predictable revenue stream worth nearly $10 billion annually. This income, combined with profits from drugs and legal industries, feeds a financial engine that authorities struggle to even observe. Money laundering has therefore evolved into a continuous, perfectly coordinated system, operating every hour of every day, adapting instantly when one method is exposed. Remittances sent from the United States to Mexico are one of the most effective tools, as billions move through legitimate banking channels disguised as family support. In some U.S. states with relatively small Mexican populations, Remittance volumes far exceed what demographics can explain, revealing how thousands of small transfers to ordinary civilian accounts can collectively clean billions in cartel money, while overwhelming monitoring systems designed to detect large transactions. Cryptocurrencies add another layer of anonymity, allowing funds to be broken into small deposits, converted into digital assets below reporting thresholds, and moved across blockchain networks where trails effectively disappear. Despite global efforts to regulate digital finance, organized crime continues to invest heavily in bypassing safeguards, constantly refining techniques that stay just ahead of enforcement. Yet even this is no longer enough, and increasing pressure has driven cartels toward their most sophisticated method yet. Chinese-based laundering networks have become key partners, exploiting gaps in international trade and financial oversight that investigators describe as a maze with no exit. Through small and medium-sized companies, large sums of cash are introduced as legitimate revenue fragmented across multiple accounts, converted through currency markets, and returned to the global system as clean capital. By the time authorities detect irregularities, the transactions have passed through so many layers that tracing them leads nowhere, leaving investigators facing a wall at the end of the labyrinth. Organized crime has evolved into a powerful global machinery, capable of generating enormous resources and laundering tens of millions of dollars every single day without leaving a trace. While authorities continue to chase outdated models in a system that has already moved on, everything suggests this is only the beginning, and the real question is how long governments can remain one step behind in a game where the rules have already changed. If you believe governments can still catch up, or think organized crime has permanently outpaced the system, share your perspective in the comments and join the discussion below.